Hi guys, this is going to be a unit project based video because I've been getting a couple of emails saying, hey Miss McCarthy, I'm a little bit confused. What are we supposed to be doing for this? So I'm going to try to clear this up as much as possible for you guys so that you know exactly what I'm expecting from you for each of the unit projects. So let's get started. First things first, let's go in to the options. Actually, you know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to create a document so that we can make a checklist together, okay? Oops. All right. Okay. So we'll just call this the unit project checklist. Okay. So what do I need to do for the myth unit projects? Okay. So there are 6 units, okay? And there is, as you'll see in these unit project options, 6 different categories. So when I mention categories, I mean these big boxes right here, and the category is the bigger lettering, and then the dots under it are the options, or at least some of the options that you can choose from when doing that creative project. So for each of the 6 unit projects, you'll be doing one of each of these. For the final one, or for whichever unit you decide on, you have a choice selection as choice category where you can go back to these original 5 and choose another one to do from a category you have already done. However, let's say you do your choice is creative writing, and you've already done a poem narrative for unit 1. And on unit 3, you decide you want to do the choice option, so you want to do creative writing again. You cannot do another poem. You have to do a short story or a fable / fairy tale, lyrics to a song that you wrote. You have to pick something new within that category. Okay? So for unit 1, you can pick any one of these. Probably not choice, just because starting with choice seems like an odd thing to do. So probably one of these 5 you're going to choose from first. So technology, you can make a PowerPoint about the myth that you read. You can pick to do a recording of making yourself a PSA commercial, which is a PSA is kind of like a public service announcement. So you could do a public service announcement commercial, an iMovie, so you can kind of even create your own movie. You could do a TED Talk. You guys know what TED Talks are, right? So yeah, so that could be an option for you. If you do artistic expression, you can do a 2D or 3D artwork. That can be painting, that can be drawing, sketching, what have you. You could do photojournalism. You could take pictures. So let's say you do a creation story and you're going to create a photojournalistic album of the different things that a certain creation story described as making. So if you did the Bible story, your creation story might have creating nature, or creating daytime, or creating animals, creating man and female, you know? So take pictures of that, and then you can write next to the pictures what the picture is of and how it relates back to the story. A short graphic novel, a diorama. A diorama is kind of like, have you ever guys heard of like the volcano project? And maybe you even did this in elementary school where you created a volcano that actually exploded on it. That's kind of like what a diorama is. And then expository writing. So you write an article, like a news article, an eulogy. That can be of a person who maybe died in one of the myths that you read. An essay. So you can write an essay about the myth that you wrote, or the character with one of the characters within the myth. An interview. So you can set it up where you're the interviewer and then you're interviewing one of the characters in the myth that you read. That would be very cool. And then creative writing. You can write a poem, a short story, a fable / fairy tale, or lyrics. This one's it's based off of the reading you did, but don't just rewrite exactly what your creation story did, especially for the short story or fairy tale. Make it based off of it. So maybe a continuation of the story that you read or a different version. And then performance. That's going to be something that you record probably, but if you have no idea how to record things, we can discuss that. Maybe you'll just write this or describe it to me somehow in a piece of writing. But performance is a speech, monologue, character sketch, which is kind of like acting out a character, maybe doing a character monologue, interpretive dance, or a tableau. Or tableau. And then, like I said, one of your projects during one of the 6 units, you're going to choose to do one of these 5 again, but a different from what you did before in that category. Okay. So moving on. So you need first to pick a myth from the link I provide you. Once you have chosen that, pick a creative aspect from one of the 6 categories, which is the categories I just showed you, and then write a reflection. The reflection is the main points of this project, but that does not mean that you shouldn't work just as hard on this creative aspect, okay? So, let me get into the document. This is where this expectations comes in, the myth reflection expectations. So when you click onto this, because you'll see that it's in March 31st, so go to the daily schedule for that, you'll see exactly what you need to do. And this is why it's the most points, because it's a bigger piece of writing. So you walk step through step under these bolded categories and answer the questions based off of the creative project that you did based off of the myth that you read. So go through these questions and answer them, reflecting on the project you did and how your project is based off of the myth that you read from the links that I gave you. Those links, again, are in April 2nd. So choose a creation myth from the link options. So click into here, and you'll see a list of options. Each of these are links to something else, to a story. Okay, so let's say you choose to do the Norse creation myth. You click that, and this gives you a Norse creation myth. Oh, no, you have to go to this. So you have to scroll down, and it'll take you to even more stories. And the creation of the cosmos, or the creation of the first humans. You can do either one, because both of them are creation stories. You can even do the creation of Thor's hammer, because that's technically a creation story. So let's just say you want to do creation of cosmos. So read this. This is how the Norse myth goes about saying the cosmos were created. Read this, then you're like, okay, this is the one I want to do. And then your next step is to pick a creative aspect from the 6 categories. So looking back at the categories again, let me find it. Oops, that's not what I wanted either. Okay, so you're like, okay, I want to do the Norse creation myth of the cosmos. Then I have 6 choices. Obviously, I'm not going to do choice for unit 1 because that's for something later, you know, when I decide I want to do creative writing twice or something. So I have these 5 choices to pick from for my first one. I'm deciding to do an artistic expression. So what I decide to do a 2D piece of artwork. So I'm going to paint something or draw something. And it's the creation of the cosmos. So I'm going to do a painting of how the Norse say they created, the gods or whatever created the cosmos based off of the story I just read. Once I do that painting, I'll take a picture for my teacher. That would be me. So if you do a painting or a drawing, either scan it in somehow or just take a picture on your phone and download that onto your computer. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to write a reflection on it, which again, I keep on Xing out of these things when I need them. So, done the painting, and now I'm going to do the reflection, which is the last step. So it's asking me all these questions. So how did you consider the reflection on your idea? How did you decide what you were going to explore and how were you going to satisfy the project? Why did you select the reporting out choice that you did? So why did I choose to paint a picture? I decided to paint a picture because I like painting and I thought that it would be really pretty to see the Cosmos stories in really bright colors. If you're not doing a writing, you don't really have to focus on the fact like all sentences need to be complete thoughts. That's kind of just talking about your reflection needed being complete thoughts. So this section is why. Why did I choose this? Why did I choose the supporting text? Why did I choose the Cosmos? Because I like space and I like Norse mythology because I like Thor and I want to read more about that culture. Textual support. Reflections should clearly identify textual passages that were influenced in the designing of the project. So I painted certain things in my picture that reflect this part of the text. So reference back to a quote. The Norse myth said the cosmos were created by this god in this way, and so I painted that, and that's how this is why I chose to paint that, because this is what the text said and reference it. Okay. Your reflection should focus on means you choose to deliver your message. So why did you choose the project you did? How successful were you in its completion? Did you make a mistake during it? How did you fix that mistake? If you could do this project all over again, what changes would you make? Would you decide not to do a painting because you realize that you suck at painting? Would you decide that you would add more colors to the painting? What would you do? And if it was a poem, would you add a different line? Would you add more lines? Would you add more textual references? The process. Obviously, these are going to be more about writing projects, but then what did you do to ensure the successful, accurate project? So, meaning, what did you do to make sure that your project was successful? I made sure I sketched it first, and then I moved on to choosing my colors for my painting, and then I chose a canvas. So maybe I painted it on paper, maybe an actual canvas. What did I paint it on? Why did I choose that? And how many days did I take to do it so that the paint would dry or it would look its best? And then language. The main question here is reflect upon your use of language as it applies to the project created. How did your choices convey your meaning? So that doesn't always mean language as written out. Your language through your painting could be the picture, the language in your picture. So how did your picture, if you're doing a painting, how did your painting convey the choices or convey the language that was used in your myth? So I drew stars because that's part of what cosmos are. I drew planets because they reference that in the myth. I maybe drew a god in the background, what I think the god would look like, and I showed him with his hands out creating these cosmos with his magical hands. Who knows? Reflect and show how your project fully reflected the myth that you read. Okay, so that is my project-based video. Hopefully this gave you a better, deeper understanding of how to do your unit projects. If you have any questions at all, please email me. And if you need to set up an online conference, do so. Email me saying, hey, Ms. McCarthy, I still don't understand this. Can we do a live conference one-on-one? And then we'll set up a time and we'll do that. And I'll share a screen with you and we'll talk through your questions and talk through your confusion. We are in this together, I promise. All right, so have a good day and good luck on your projects. I look forward to seeing them.